Hey guys, my name is Mike Murphy. I'm a nutritional therapist, and today we're going to answer the question, why do you struggle to sleep? For as long as the planet has been revolving on its axis, there's been a night and day cycle every 24 hours. And all life on Earth has evolved with this daily rhythm. So it's not surprising that this daily cycle has become rather ingrained in our bodily processes and our physiology. In humans, we now know that all of our organs, and in fact all the cells in our body, have internal clocks that are sensitive to what's called our circadian rhythm, which is a natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle roughly every 24 hours. Now, the word circadian comes from the Latin word circa, which means around, and diem, meaning day. Now, your circadian rhythm is so strong that even when you travel across multiple time zones, it's still set in your previous time zone, and it can take up to a week to reset itself. You'll know this as jet lag. But there's a lot of things that we can do in our day-to-day lives that can disrupt our circadian rhythm and interfere with our sleep. And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. As adult hunter-gatherers, it's estimated that we got between 8 to 9 hours of sleep each night. But along comes the Industrial Revolution and the invention of electricity, and in less than 100 years, we seem to have thrown out our evolutionary sleep requirements. And today, humans are averaging less than 6.5 hours a night. The studies on sleep deprivation are pretty clear that when you start dipping below this amount of sleep consistently, all kinds of things in the body start to suffer. Your cognitive function and memory declines. Your immune system is reduced in its capacity to protect you. You're at a higher risk of stroke and heart attacks and suffering depression. Our hormones get imbalanced when we don't get enough sleep. We're more likely to make unhealthy food choices, and we're at a higher risk of obesity and developing diabetes because we make more insulin in response to food when we're sleep deprived, and that makes us store more fat. In men, sleep deprivation depletes our testosterone levels because we make the vast majority of our testosterone during sleep. Now, I'm a nutritional therapist, and I certainly know that good nutrition is important to our health. But it's nowhere near as important as sleep. We can survive a pretty long time on a poor diet, but we go down very fast without adequate sleep. For example, after just one night of only 4 hours sleep, we lose 70% of our natural killer cells, which are the immune system's front line of defense against viruses and infection. So without question, the single biggest thing we can do to optimize our own health is to get enough sleep. But yet many of us struggle. We want to sleep desperately, but it evades us. We might drop off easily, but we wake in the wee hours and then we can't get back to sleep. Or we go to bed tired, but our brain is wired and the mind struggles to switch off. So why is that? Well, there are two fundamental reasons why we struggle with sleep. The first has to do with light. For the couple of million years that humans have been evolving, there's been no light bulbs. And so when the sun went down, it got dark. Now, there's a tiny little gland in our brain called the pineal gland, and its job is to make a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is the sleep hormone, and without it, it's very hard for us to sleep. The problem is the pineal gland gets its signal to make melatonin when the eyes sense darkness. So at night, when the sun goes down and it gets dark, our melatonin levels go up. And this sets the stage for a good night's sleep. But when our eyes are exposed to light, the pineal gland gets the opposite signal and shuts off melatonin production. So if we light up our world after dark with bright artificial light until the moment we hit the sack, it's not surprising that our melatonin levels may not be at their peak. And it's not just exposure to light bulbs in every room. The light from our handheld devices that we stare at night can also impact melatonin levels if used too close to bedtime. Now, the second key reason we struggle with sleep has to do with mental stimulation. Unfortunately, from a sleep perspective, there are some very cool things we can do at night with electricity beyond just the light bulb. If you've ever been camping, you'll know that you get sleepy pretty quickly when all you have is a campfire and perhaps some conversation. But add a television and an iPhone or tablet and the internet to the mix, and it's game over. For millions of years of evolution, unless you're a nocturnal species, nightfall was a time to start slowing down. It's not a time to wind ourselves up by binge watching an intense series or checking work emails or engaging in a heated argument with your partner about what color to paint your living room. All these things fire up parts of the brain that are designed to keep us awake. Whenever we're in a state of stress, our adrenal glands make stress hormones, and one of these hormones is called cortisol. Cortisol is the polar opposite to melatonin. Although it's considered a stress hormone, we also make it in the morning to wake up. And when we measure these two hormones over a 24-hour period, we see that when one is up, the other is down, and vice versa. And so it's not surprising that insomnia, which is the inability to sleep, ends up going hand in hand with stress. So what can you do about it? Well, the most important thing you can do is to recognize that your health depends on sleep and it should be prioritized. Sufficient sleep enriches our ability to learn and helps us memorize more effectively. It helps us deal with social and psychological challenges. Sleep detoxifies our brain and revitalizes our immune system. It tunes our metabolic health and rebalances our blood sugar. It even helps support healthy gut bacteria, which we're now realizing is important for so many aspects of health. So don't be fooled by the belief that sleep is a luxury, and to be a successful professional, we have to get up early and go to bed late to try to get more done. There is abundant research showing that this is counterproductive, and we tend to get less done and work less efficiently and make more mistakes when we're sleep deprived. Apart from that, the two most important things you can do to help get your sleep back on track is to start reducing the exposure to bright light an hour or two before bed, and do whatever you can to start winding down at the same time. Switch off your devices that can wind you up and overstimulate. That includes your phone. Don't bring it to bed with you. Avoid engaging in potentially stressful discussions late at night. If they're important, park them till morning. And avoid, like the plague, accessing work emails that can otherwise wait until daylight. Other things that you can do that can really make a difference include things like sticking to a sleep schedule. We tend to sleep better when our brain gets used to going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, including the weekends. And this one may sound like a no-brainer, but avoiding caffeinated beverages after midday is a good idea. Everyone's ability to process caffeine varies, but in some individuals, one coffee much after midday can mean that there's still caffeine floating around the bloodstream at bedtime, and that can get in the way of a sound sleep. Try not to eat too late at night either. Ideally, give yourself 3 hours between your last bite of food and your bedtime routine. If your digestive system is working too hard while you sleep, this can wake you up and interfere with the quality of your sleep. And depending on where you live, the sun can come up quite early in the summer, and the light coming through the window can wake you up way too early. So it's important to make your bedroom dark. Consider investing in a blackout blind. Given how important sleep is to your health, it might be the best investment you can make. It's also important to make sure your bedroom is cool and ventilated. We tend to not sleep soundly when it's hot and there's not enough fresh air. Now, the last sleep tip I'll give you is a good old-fashioned Epsom salt bath before bed. Epsom salt is otherwise known as magnesium sulfate, and magnesium is nature's relax mineral. Just dissolve a cup or two of Epsom salts in a warm bath and have a good 20-minute soak. It's a great way to unwind and relax the body and the mind to set yourself up for a fantastic night's sleep. So that's my take on why you might be struggling with sleep and what you can do about it. If you put some of these tips to the test and they work for you, please let us know about this in the comments. And let us know if you've got any suggestions for future videos. And if you like this video, why not give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But until next time, sleep well.